Hello cuties, and welcome for another cozy nighttime in my little corner indie review. Today we are talking about Experimental Magics by Alex Evans. This was a very cozy academia. Oh, okay, I have to take that back. Not cozy, but it is very academic. Okay, if you're of the type of person who loves a fantasy realm that's focused on the academic side of things, then this is for you. It's a slower paced book. So if you don't want to fast read, if you want to just kind of luxuriate in it with the characters, kind of dealing with politics and, you know, I don't have a better word than academia for this right now. But it follows a professor, a scientist, this woman who is studying magic and studying power is what she refers to it as. She has the ability to actually see power and understand it a lot more, but she has to keep that kind of under wraps. There is a lot of misogyny that she experiences in this world because she's one of the only women scientists and professors in this university, but she has just been granted this really prestigious opportunity to present her work. All the while there has been some other sinister things going in the background. So one of her friends in the very beginning of the book is presumed dead. And she is not, like they weren't close, but she knew him and he was doing some really cool groundbreaking work with soul transference. And that's kind of the background theme. There's a lot of other quiet stuff that happens. She has this new kind of guest hanging around and she's showing him the ropes and there's things going missing. There's a lot of little pieces that don't connect until the very end. So if you're that type of person that enjoys, you know, trying to really like puzzle piece, like why is this here and what are these things happening, and you're okay waiting until the very end to figure out how it all connects, this is a good book for you. If you're the type of person that needs to know everything right here, right now, and needs a faster paced book, this is not the book for you. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, it took me a while to get through it, but I think that was also because of things going on. But I enjoyed the experience. I'm wondering if there's going to be a sequel, because I did think that we would actually get to that conference in this. So I was a little confused timeline-wise of when things were happening. I liked that we had both, that she was still a very logical person and still having to deal with these high stress situations. And she was still concerned about, you know, like her livelihood and her ability to live and rent this one place that has very strict rules for a single unmarried woman. So it had this steampunk nature to it, still with the same rules of true steampunk, where it's set in like a Victorian era, even though this is a fantasy world. It's very light on romance. I would argue there actually really isn't any romance in it. It's very minimal. So if you're also a person who doesn't really want to read a romance book, go ahead, boom, got this. This is true steampunk fantasy. And there's a big mystery around it. There are corrupt organizations. There is an election going on with very interesting religious aspects. Like everything is based on a different religion in the world, and some of them are good parallels to what we experience today, and others are just kind of out there. But I think Alex Evans does a really good job blending what is we know in real life into this fantasy world. I really enjoyed a lot of the characters in this, and it's just a nice kind of, it's a quiet, even though there are some pretty high stakes, but it still handled it pretty calmly. My one thing that I would have liked more is that we have a character who is a book, and I would have liked that character to be a lot more prominent, to have come in a lot earlier in the story and have been a much bigger focal point for everything going on, because that character was, not to give any spoilers or anything, but they were a big focal point for what was happening, and I just would have liked to see that brought more to the forefront of the story than what we had. So that's my only real complaint to it. Otherwise, I still enjoyed this. I'm hoping there's going to be a sequel. One of the difficult things with indie books is you don't have that ability to really pre-plan it, like on Goodreads, where they tells you if there's an untitled second book coming or anything. I don't know. I did ask the question on Goodreads. It hasn't been answered yet, so I'm hoping to get an answer. I think there is a lot of potential for at least a second book, if not also a third. Anyway, that is my review of Experimental Magics. Check it out if it sounds like something you'd be interested in. Bye! Oh no! No, don't chew that! Paul! No! Not my fox! You leave him alone. Paul, what do you think you're doing, my guy? Paul. Paulstopher, what are you doing? You were quiet in the sleep, and now that I brought you in this room, you're no longer quiet. As if you start peeing on the carpet, be behind me then. I'm sure this will work out just fine in our favor, and you won't attack my legs at any point. What are you chewing on? Ow! Those are my legs, sir!